We begin with breaking news at 11, a scare at the Greek Theater in Griffith Park. The bomb squad went in and fans were ordered out.
CBS 2's Christy Fajardo is live at Griffith Park to show us what happened. Christy.
Yeah, the bomb scare turned out to be a false alarm, and police say it was a very elaborate hoax. The caller even had a list of demands and left some very disappointed fans. A YouTube star had given away free tickets to his event here at the Greek Theater. It had sold out. About 1,500 people were inside. Others were still arriving when they were told they had to clear out. Performance with an SUV as his stage for Yusuf Erakat, also known as Fusi. The YouTube star had sold out the Greek Theater, but had to improvise after a bomb threat forced the LAPD to clear out the 1,500 or so fans, even before he'd taken the stage.
Everybody was enjoying themselves. It was just getting better, you know. And then out of nowhere, they make an announcement. They tell everybody, "Oh, we need to evacuate. There's a light problem."
Sky 2 was overhead as bomb-sniffing dogs went through the aisles of the evacuated Greek Theater. Police say just after 6, someone called claiming he'd planted explosives in the venue. For hours, police searched but found nothing. And even as officers were in the theater, fans outside were wondering if the threat was the work of a social media rival.
It happens to a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of Twitch streamers. Not much you can really do about it, though, you know.
Whatever the motive, the hoax left disappointed fans, some of whom had driven for hours to see Fusi in person.
How long did it take you to get here?
We left at night, so it took like 4 hours, 4.5 hours.
That's why outside the Greek, the star, whose channel FusiTube has more than 1 million subscribers, stood on his SUV and gave a performance as fans live stream what they were seeing.
A little closer than you would inside.
Yes, we got way closer than what we would do inside.
So not a total loss.
Not a total loss, kind of a gain.
Yesterday, police evacuated the Griffith Observatory after responding to a report of a suspicious package. That, too, turned out to be a false alarm. The LAPD is now investigating to see whether the two incidents are connected. Live in Los Feliz, Christy Fajardo, CBS 2 News.
All right, Christy, thanks. Also tonight, police say a man shot his wife and son at their family home in the San Gabriel Valley.
CBS 2's Crystal Cruz is live in San Gabriel on Muscatel Avenue with the late details. Crystal.
Hi, Suzanne and Peter. A neighbor just gave us a little insight on why this may have happened at this home. Behind me, you can see investigators out here still trying to piece everything together.
What we learned, my brother and I learned, was that him and his father were having issues. He Facebooked me telling me that they were having a fight.
A woman in her 80s and a younger man are put on stretchers and put into an ambulance, then taken to the hospital in critical condition, both shot. A shirtless man in his 80s, hands behind his back, taken into custody by deputies, possibly the shooter. Sunday night, neighbors want to know what happened inside that house just feet from a school in their nice neighborhood. This man's daughter called him with a warning.
Yeah, I just heard from my daughter. He tell me, don't go out. Some shooting happening outside our area.
Never happened before here?
Happened before, yeah.
A spokesperson with the sheriff's office says the man in custody could face assault with a deadly weapon charge. But first, he was also taken to a hospital for possible medical conditions. And tonight, investigators say their suspect is 80-year-old Adrian Ness. I'm Crystal Cruz, live in San Gabriel tonight. Back to you guys in the studio.
Crystal, thanks. The relentless, dangerous heat and humidity drove people to Southland beaches today, and strong rip currents kept lifeguards busy with dozens of rescue calls. CBS 2's Brittany Hopper is in Playa del Rey tonight.
Earlier today, the beaches were packed, and so that means that the lifeguards were extra busy.
We were overhead when lifeguards rescued this woman. Then lifeguards had to go back out to help her friends. But this wasn't the only rescue along our beaches Sunday afternoon. There were dozens of calls for rescues from Redondo Beach to Santa Monica.
People who aren't familiar with the ocean, they kind of wade out into riptides, and then they end up getting sucked out a little bit into water where they can't stand, and then they're the people that end up getting rescued a lot of the time.
Chris Buchanan and his brother grew up surfing in Redondo Beach and surf daily. They say even those who know the water well can find themselves in trouble trouble if you're not careful. They've seen a lot of rescues over the years, especially during the hot summer days.
You always learn to be cautious because whether it's the sand that you hit after falling off the board or big waves or something, stingrays, there's always something you have to be aware of.
According to the Orange County lifeguard, recently a man drowned, making him the 16th drowning victim in Orange County this year, both in the ocean and swimming pools.
Things can happen fast.
And that's why this mom says she always watches her children and makes sure they know to not go too far out in the ocean.
Being a mom, I always imagine the worst, so I just stay with them, and they know they have rules to follow.
Now, it's supposed to be even warmer this week, so if you're planning to come out here to the beaches and go into the water, just be extra careful. In Playa del Rey, Brittany Hopper, CBS 2 News.
And a big response in Point Mugu after a man fell about 25 feet down a cliff. It happened at Mugu Rock along Pacific Coast Highway. The 30-year-old survived. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital.
A shutdown on the 5 freeway overnight. All northbound lanes are closing at Rosecrans Avenue in Norwalk. Drivers will be detoured to the 605 and then back to the 5. Crews will be removing overhead freeway signs and changing the K-rail configuration as part of the plan to widen the freeway.
Just a few hours from now, President Trump will sit down with Russian President Vladimir Putin at a summit in Helsinki, Finland. But first, the president spoke one-on-one to CBS Evening News anchor Jeff Glor about his expectations. President Trump arrived in Finland on the eve of a much-anticipated sit-down with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Monday's summit will start with a one-on-one meeting between the two, with no aides or advisors present. Russia says the U.S. requested the format.
Having meetings with Russia, China, North Korea, I believe in it. Nothing bad's going to come out of it, and maybe some good will come out.
In an interview with CBS Evening News anchor Jeff Glor, the president downplayed the summit's importance.
I go in with low expectations. I'm not going with high expectations. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I can tell you what I'll be asking for, and we'll see if something comes of it.
Trump administration officials say the meeting does not have a set agenda.
This is an attempt to see if we can diffuse and take some of the drama and, quite frankly, some of the danger out of the relationship right now.
Democrats had called on the president to cancel the summit after Friday's indictment of 12 Russians on charges of interfering in the 2016 election. Mr. Trump says he will raise the issue with Putin.
It just belies common sense that the president of the United States, this president, is going to sit down across from Putin and press him hard on the issue of Russian meddling.
The summit will mark the conclusion of the president's 6-day trip to Europe. Mr. Trump is scheduled to return to Washington on Monday evening. We'll have complete coverage of the summit tomorrow on CBS 2 News and CBSLA.com.
The fire near Yosemite that killed a firefighter exploded in size overnight. It's now burned 4,000 acres and closed Highway 140 to the western end of the park. Tonight, the flames are only 2% contained. Evacuations of nearby communities have now been ordered. CAL FIRE says drought-stricken trees are providing plenty of fuel for the flames. So far, no buildings have burned. Yesterday, 36-year-old Braden Varney died when he was using a bulldozer to create a fire break, and the dozer rolled over. Crews won't be able to retrieve his body until at least tomorrow.
Dramatic body cam video coming up. Police in Chicago released the video hoping to quell protests after a police shooting.
Plus, a confrontation at a local bar explodes on social media. What Trump supporters and opponents are saying.
And a dramatic rescue at the top of Mount Hood. A pilot makes a daring move. Have you ever seen a helicopter do this?
Get ready to sweat. We've got more humidity on the way. Details are coming up.